Are we on?
We are on YouTube,
Which means
it's Makeup with Stephanie time on that.
I want to give Roy a little shout out because Sunday was his birthday. So happy birthday, old man. How's it feel being 95?
Why you? I'm only 94.
Oh, my bad.
That
I
is.
thought you were 95. This is the
Don't
Bare
rush
Minerals.
things.
I can't read it anymore because it's so old, but it does. It's a fun one with the mirror on the back. I love this one. And also, I want to remind.
Oh, I picked one you like.
Yeah.
Usually, you're thinking,
like any of
I
them.
don't like this one. And da, da, da.
I mean, it's old. Look at it, it's all cracking. Why do I have this? Things I should not be saying. But I want to remind all our viewers to go out to Mountain Mike's tomorrow. He has his grand opening in Temecula. If you mention iNewsWire, you get yourself one free medium, one topping pizza.
Wow.
Just for mentioning iNewsWire.
Just for mentioning
one free
iNewsWire.
medium pepperoni or cheese pizza.
Wow.
Or one topping.
Or one topping.
But what else would you put on other than the pepperoni or cheese?
Whatever. What'd you call that?
I don't know.
Do you ever put makeup on your pizza?
No, but I eat it. I drink it all the time.
So don't you, as you're sliding
Look,
the
it's
pizza,
all like
don't you
separated.
eat? Because I mean, as you're sliding the pizza over your lips with the
Yeah,
lipstick
you eat
on,
it, but I don't intentionally go to put it on there. No, I don't even think this is Bare Mineral. And I'm giving them a shout out. I don't know what it is. But it has this mirror. I think that's really clever.
These segments are so bizarre.
They're weird. Anyways,
Yes, they
go out
are.
to Mountain Mike's tomorrow. Temecula location. It's brand new. Mention iNewsWire and get yourself one free medium, one topping pizza. What do you get?
One free medium topping pizza.
Yeah, just one topping.
One
I
topping.
kind of left that part out, but anyways.
Didn't I? I thought I said one topping.
One free, one topping. Oh, that's tricky. Medium pizza.
Yeah, say that fast 3 times.
I can't. I can't even say it.
You can't
one
even
time.
say it fast once.
Yeah, I can't even say it clearly, slowly once.
One free medium
But it works.
topping pizza at Mountain Mike's in Temecula on their grand opening tomorrow, Tuesday.
Only.
June 30th.
This is only for tomorrow.
Only for tomorrow.
Yep, Tuesday.
Are we going to mention it on the regular show or just this? Because no, well, I shouldn't say that. Very few watch. We need to get more people watching the
They need to
YouTube
start
channel.
watching YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we just wait for you to play the music.
yeah.
Well, I wait for Stephanie to talk. Okay, whatever.
Here's the fade down of the funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday, live at 5. iNewsWire on YouTube and Facebook.
On a,
Mm,
I don't know, Manic Monday?
I was waiting for you to
I
lead
didn't
it
know
off
what was going on.
of
You
that.
just looked at me and I panicked. But we got it. And again, let's do another shout out because y'all don't watch YouTube like we keep telling you to.
Yes.
Happy birthday to the Hilly Billy over here.
There you
'cause
go.
His birthday was on Sunday. He turned
Sunday.
108.
107, I keep telling you.
No, I said
you
95
keep,
last
you keep
time. I'm
trying to
changing it
bump
every
me
time.
up on
I
the.
know. great.
You keep trying to rush me into the grave.
I mean, I'm not rushing you. I'm just trying to make you the oldest person alive. Oldest, most active. And
Well, I
skinniest
probably
person
do.
alive.
And I say it. I probably outwork most people half my age on this stuff.
Yeah, you have to say a lot of things about yourself. You should hear the things I say. Anyways,
Well, that might make an interesting show.
we're accepting callers. No, I'm just kidding.
Of that.
Did you have a good birthday, though?
Yeah, it was fine.
You had beautiful weather.
Yes, it was. Appreciate the festivities you had after the studio for me on Friday with everybody coming out. It was really nice.
Oh, Lucy's watching on YouTube. Good job, Lucy.
Yes, thank you.
Everybody else join her because you missed a great segment.
Yes, you need to go back and watch. You need to watch, especially even go back through the archives. For the first 3 or 4 minutes. Tell us Tell us what you think of that. I think there's some of the most bizarre.
But if
funny
you're going
things
to say
we do.
anything negative, don't tell us because I can't handle it. Just say it to
You can
Roy.
just tell it to me because I
Yeah.
can.
You can.
I've taken negative to a new dimension.
You have
But-
mastered it.
Well, yeah, everybody thinks I am, but I'm probably the most positive person sitting on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of fun stuff going on over this weekend. on top of that being the only exciting thing I think that was happening was my birthday of that. Seems like everybody else is going stark raving mad crazy across the board on that. Kicked off on that.
Oh, never mind.
Oh,
you were
what did you want
I
to
thought
say?
you were going to go into the Mount Rubidoux thing, but we'll go back to
Oh
that.
no, that was one of them. I mean, that was
That
fun
really,
stuff
when I
going
saw
on
that, that
over
really
this
bummed me
weekend.
out. That was really
On top of that
Between
being
the state
the only
of California,
exciting
Gavin
thing I
Newsom
think that
did
was
this,
happening
like,
was
on
my
a-
birthday of that.
on a
Seems like
Saturday.
everybody else is
He
going
did- he
stark
put out a
raving mad
press
crazy.
release
just saying that
across the
we're
board on
closing
that.
bars
Kicked
in
off on that.
L.A. L.A. Fresno.
What did you
I
wanna
thought
say?
you were going to go into the Mount Rubidoux
Kings
thing, but we'll
County.
go back
Oh
to that.
no,
Contra
that was
Costa
one of them. I mean, that was
recommending
fun
that
stuff
really
going
when I
on
saw
over
that
this
Contra
week.
Costa,
Riverside, Sacramento.
On top of that,
Between
the only exciting thing I think that was happening was my birthday of that.
on a
Seems like
Saturday,
everybody else is
Stanislaus
going
he
to start
put out a
raving
press
crazy.
release
just saying that
we're doing that. We're closing
bars
bars
in
off
L.A.
You're hearing about the race
L.A.
coronavirus
cases rising.
Oh,
in Texas
what did you
now.
wanna
I thought
say?
you were going to go
A
into
little
the
bit in
Mount
California
Rubidoux.
County.
Oh,
No, that was one of them. I mean, that was
Recommending
fun
that
stuff
really
going
when I
on
saw
over
that
this
Contra
weekend.
Riverside, Sacramento.
On top of that,
Between
the only exciting
Gavin
thing I
Newsom
think that was
took on
happening
the
was my
award
birthday.
today at the press
Seems
conference.
like everybody else is
He
going
just
to
put out a
reiterate
press
crazy.
release.
Riverside
Uh,
County,
we're doing
about
that.
an
We're
hour
closing
ago announced they are closing all the bars in Riverside County because they were on the watch list of this whole deal. Now, we're just at California where the positivity rate, we've been between 4.5% and 5% for about 6 weeks. We were at 4.5% a couple weeks ago. Now we're up to 5.5%. Cases are going up. We're not at hospital capacity. Only 13% of our ICU beds are across the state are being used for that. We're only using 58% of the capacity. We're not. Our hospitals are only at about 58% capacity. Only 7% are COVID positive. Now that doesn't mean that they have symptoms of COVID. You could be hit by a truck and get in the ICU unit, and if you test positive for COVID, you're marked as a
People that have had cancer and passed away from cancer, and they were marked as COVID. And family were really upset because on the death certificate it says COVID, and that's not
Yes.
that's not how they passed away.
Well, they're doing that because they get $15,000 to $40,000, depending on their ventilator or not, if it's a COVID case from the federal government.
Right.
And they've said anybody that tests positive for COVID, that was the whole deal in Colorado, where they had to adjust the death rate down by about 250 from 1,100 to about 850 because they, one guy actually did get hit by a truck, and got run over, and 34 years old, was killed, and he had COVID. He was tested positive. Nobody knew that he had any symptoms or wasn't complaining of anything, but they listed it as a COVID death when that clearly wasn't the reason he died. And so all this panic that's going on across the board. Now, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida was on Sunday, and he said there's no evidence that this is transmitting outside, excuse me. Because everybody's complaining about people out on the beach, people at the protests, this was all everybody's trying to make something of that. Now, it does seem to be, what they're doing is, well, like we mentioned, I think, on Friday's show, like Chase Bank's got 30 million credit card holders. What they're doing is correlating, okay, you get a credit card, you're charging up, drinks at the bar or whatever, Joe's Bar and whatever, and then you wind up getting COVID on that. Then they're correlating that with what you're charging on your charge card for that. So they've been determining, since states have been opening up the bars, seems like there's a lot of COVID cases coming up among the younger set that were related to people being in bars. Now, I'm going to say this, and I said this at the beginning of this whole fiasco. Air conditioning. The CDC, Centers for Disease Control, has said, if you want viruses spread like mad, flu viruses, cold viruses, whatever, in air conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
So you take, what was it last week? Riverside County, the county building, the actual county employees building, the 4th and 5th floor, there was like an outbreak of COVID. I've said this from the beginning. It's people in environments of air conditioning are going to be a lot more susceptible, or indoors, which more people, since it's been hot, more people have moved indoors automatically all across the nation. because we've had summertime's coming. We're right in the we've started summertime. We're right in the hot wave season, so people are spending more time indoors than they are out in a lot of cases. So this is probably why the coronavirus deal is. Cases are going up. ICUs are going. Death rate is not going up, but that's a lagging indicator. There are a few hot spots where people are getting, where they probably should be nervous. But like they said, I think the Reason Foundation, or Reason.com, listen article, they're actually going down in Colorado, staying even in North Dakota. So it's a cornucopia of what's going on. But this this was expected as people start circulating and doing, opening up, doing whatever, the case rate was going up. And they always said, you're never going to prevent the amount of cases of coronavirus, whether you do mass social distancing or anything else. All you're doing is stretching out the time of it.
Right.
What the danger of that is, in my view, and my understanding of biology, is, okay, let's say now that we move this virus into the actual hot weather season, where usually your flus, colds, viruses disappear anyway because they don't survive well in the heat. Well, now that we push this thing out of our normal seasons where viruses survive in the cold and we're getting in the hot, now that it's going around in the summertime, what if this coronavirus develops a resistance to the heat where it doesn't kill it off like it usually does in the summertime in a normal deal? Now we're going to be fighting a much worse deal going forward, because now this virus maybe has a chance to figure out how to survive in the heat where they usually don't. What do you think?
No, I completely agree with you. Plus, not to mention when students go back to school, I mean, we're going to have the holiday season coming up soon. People are going to be at the stores come in the winter. I mean, what are you going to do? Shut down the rest of the world forever? I mean,
yes.
You're not going to be able to.
And
now ABC just released that they're shutting down all beaches for 4th of July weekend.
Yes.
Now everyone's going to gather at other people's homes, and then they're all going to be closed because they're all going to be crammed. Like, there's no stopping it. They need to just stop trying to stop it and just let it happen. I mean, it's just... nobody likes getting sick. Nobody wants to get it. Nobody wants to get sick. I think everybody is taking precautions on their own with the hand sanitizer. I mean, you now still can't find any freaking dang sanitizing wipes anywhere.
Yeah.
You can find toilet paper, though.
Well,
so
yeah, you
that's
can
nice.
get it, and you're getting bleach. But bleach is like, I used to be able to, before this all started, you used to be able to get bleach for like 99 cents a gallon. Now it's same store, it's $2 a gallon. It's doubled in price. And everything else has went up.
No, toilet paper for like a 12-pack of toilet paper at some store, I'm not going to say, was like almost $20.
Yes.
For a 12-pack of toilet paper.
Yeah, we
That's
used to get that for
insane.
like $2.99.
I mean, no, maybe like 12 bucks.
Well,
maybe $10. $8. When you got a coupon, double stack it, and you're all like coupon savvy. Maybe $6. But $20 for a freaking 12-pack of toilet paper?
Again, yes.
Screw that.
Everything's, that's why I say we're amongst not being employed or the money not circulating like it should over all this stuff and doing this. Now we're fighting this. I mean, I was actually a little bit optimistic. We were turning the corner a couple weeks ago, and everything's starting to break. That especially in other states, but even in California was breaking a little bit. But I mean, now it seems like we're sticking the brakes on everything, and this is what's even more dangerous, I think, than anything else, is you open it up and then you put the brakes back on it. Start doing this yo-yo cycle on this. We're all going to be in a heap of trouble, because this is the worst scenario that we could have. Is everybody's doing it, and I don't know about you, but the last couple of weeks, traffic and everything seems to be almost back to where it was.
I think it's kind of worse.
Yeah, I mean,
In some spots, but I think a lot of people were trying to go out and travel. I mean, you had Father's Day weekend. A lot of people wanted to go, to water areas and fishing and stuff.
Yeah, the pent-up demand of not doing anything, I think, has got people worried. Now that you let them back out, I don't think you're going to be able to corral them back in like you did the first time.
Susan writes in, which I want you to kind of talk about this for a minute. I truly can't breathe when wearing a mask, so I just stay home. I heard doctors saying the mask does not interfere with breathing, but it sure does affect me. I think it has a lot to do with breathing.
Yes.
How would the mask not have anything to do with breathing?
But
That's weird.
in anything, yes, you're breathing. They're trying to say that, but you're breathing in your own CO2, your own bacteria, and everything else that's hanging in that mask. There's plenty. Now they're trying to come up with this stuff of, oh, masks are okay after telling us.
Masks aren't okay.
Yeah,
But
after
wear the
telling us
masks
masks
are okay.
are okay. This is Fauci, since you brought that up. Fauci, why the public wasn't told to wear masks when the coronavirus pandemic began. There he is, Dr. Fauci, on this. Medical, there you go. This is in Changing America by Alexandria Kelly. Medical masks and cloth manufacturings are now a common sight when venturing out in public amidst the coronavirus pandemic. Most states require them as part of reopening plans. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention advocates their use. This wasn't always the case. When coronavirus pandemic hit stateside, face masks were strictly recommended for personnel protective equipment, for healthcare professionals, according to Anthony Fauci, which we ran through that. And he said in February, they are not effective for this or preventing from you coming across the deal or coming across the deal again before. So further reading, this wasn't the case when to that. So, and he told a member of the White House Coronavirus Task Force masks were not advised for the public because of anticipated PPE shortings. Speaking in the streets, Fauci discussed how face masks are preventing COVID-19 infection and why they aren't recommended from the start. Masks are not 100% protective. However, they're certainly better than not wearing masks, both to prevent you and if you happen to be a person who feels well. But as an asymptomatic infection, you don't even know how to prevent it. But also, it can protect you from a certain degree. How many times did we hear the mask does not protect you? You are the only one wearing it. And the whole thing. So what do you believe? Was he lying then or lying now?
I don't know. But you know what? Stephanie writes in that I love the name, by the way, that she got some face shields off Amazon. That's a good idea. If the masks bug you, but you want to still stay protected.
Yeah, but what?
Hey, it's a good idea.
For what?
Let her have it.
Again, when you, but I mean, again, doing all this stuff, if it has prolonged this season, like I talked about in the beginning, and now this thing develops a resistance or a survivability in the heat, now we're going to be in a 24/7, 365 cycle of this stuff.
Yeah, I can't wear the mask.
And
I don't mean to be disrespectful when I go to stores, because you definitely get the looks if you don't wear it, but I can't. I start hyperventilating. I can't breathe. I start sweating. I get all dizzy and lightheaded.
Of that, no, it's crazy.
And I personally, and I don't again mean any disrespect from anyone that's lost a loved one or has gotten sick. I want it. I want to get it. I want to build immunity. I mean, we say, I think we've already had it.
I think right.
I would hate for this to come back 5-6 years from now. I'm older. You're going to be like way older, and then you're not going to be able to get over it.
Hey, exactly. And as most, and I think we'll have Dr. Victory on Thursday. But as she said, at best, even if they come up with a vaccine, they're 60% effective, and some of them are anywhere from 0 to 60%. They're not 100%, even if you do run them of that. But on top of that, again, we're not building this immunity, of that. I think overall we're going to find out we've done more harm to us by doing the severe lockdowns and not letting this spread and not dealing with this whole thing than we ever would if we would have just left it alone and not done anything across the system. Because again, I think this whole thing is just, again, like with the Fauci deal on the masks. Well, they don't protect you, but so you don't spread it. Well, now they might protect you. I mean, and on and on. And then they were saying, well, we didn't want to tell anybody because we didn't want to have a mask shortage. Have you ever heard of we've had a cloth shortage?
No.
So if the mask, even if they're saying the cloth mask is effective, then then tell me that now you weren't lying, because we never had a cloth shortage. So there was never any reason if the masks are effective, that you could have told the general population to wear a cloth mask on the deal, and if they were effective, or how effective they were, or that would be recommended, and it might protect you, not changing your story all the time. That just makes me personally.
But you know what the sad thing is, though?
What?
That a lot of people aren't seeing that. A lot of people are like, oh, okay, so this is what we're doing now. Oh, okay, this is what we're doing now. Like, I don't know. It's sad. I wish people would kind of wake up a little bit and see it. I mean, I know you preach it all the time. I listen half the time when you talk, but
Wow, I'm up to half. Boy, I'm making progress.
I mean, I'm just trying to be nice. Your birthday was Sunday, but I don't. I wish people would finally wake up. Wake up!
Another local story that came on. This was on IE.
This was so sad.
Yeah, this was on IE Newswire. On that. The night before, more protests in downtown Riverside on Friday, a local resident called 911 to report people swinging axes at the cross on Mount Rubidoux. The crosses at Mount Rubidoux sit on private land sold by the city at auction in 2013. It's maintained by a nonprofit conservation group, Totally Mount Rubidoux, and is an effort to preserve from the atheists demanding its removal over separation of church and state claims. The cross was originally dedicated in 1907 by Bishop Thomas Contenay from the Catholic Diocese. Plaques commemorate the cross in the name of Father Junipero Sierra. Saturday afternoon, resident Danny Gutierrez assembled a team to fix the damage. I could have not done it without the community help. But here's the pictures of it on that. I think I've got one here. There's one of it. By the next day, they had it restored, all repainted, all the graffiti off, done on that. And so it was restored back to its original condition of that. But if we're going to get into that, the whole protester thing is just getting way out of control on
Like,
this.
to me, what was the purpose of that? Why would you go and do that?
Yeah.
What did the cross do to you? I go up to Mount Rubidoux not because of the cross. I go up to Mount Rubidoux because it's a nice place to go and hike with my kids.
Right.
I mean, I know a lot of people go up there and pray, which, hey, that's cool. I'm not going to knock it. I'm not personally going to go do it, but my kids love going up there and seeing the cross. Like, I don't get why somebody would be mad at a cross. I don't get it.
It's the whole thing.
Just walk away from it.
Yeah, it's that. And I heard something about the NBA is now going to. I just caught it before we came in. The NBA is now going to allow like protests at their games or whatever from the players. I don't know if they're going to be able to wear it or something. So
what
from everybody. So I guess whatever you want to protest, we're going to do that. I think we're encouraging this, and so
whatever NBA players want to say offends them or hurts their little feelings, they're going to be able to wear it? A T-shirt that says it?
It's something like that. It's another.
I need more than a T-shirt if we're going to be doing stuff like that. I got a lot of stuff that offends me, especially from you. T-shirt ain't going to cover it.
I thought I just offended you by being here.
Well, yeah, that's step one. Now let's go the whole hour of being here.
Yes, of that. But
how stupid! Why would you promote that? Why would you allow that? Why do people feel like if they complain and put it out there in the universe, something's going to get done about it? You just look like a little thing I can't say.
I would like to see them. How are we going to rebuild and get our country back to being the way it was before we all started going cuckoo over everything? How about let's protest the insanity going around, and let's encourage putting a little sanity back into things instead of this bizarro, insane stuff. It seems like it's
not getting us anywhere.
No,
at all. Someone wrote in that out in Norco, there's another Black Lives Matter protest going on.
Yeah,
why? I mean, I don't mean to be rude or I don't want to sound heartless, but I don't get what they want from it. What do you think? I mean, I just want to go and give everybody a hug.
Yes.
That's the only way that I feel like it's going to solve anything. Like, you're not alone. You have all these people out there, but you guys are destroying stuff. I mean, unless it's peaceful.
I
then
mean,
that's cool.
at
But
this point in the United States of America,
go for a hike. and
what?
Fix
Yeah.
your community. I think that's the
Yes.
best blessing ever.
Do something. What opportunity are you having that isn't? Who
Or
is out?
teach the community what you
yeah.
want to be seen as.
Who is out there just trying? The vast majority of people are not trying to gun you down. Anybody. Zero of anybody. Not doing this. But no, we're doing that. And we had Patrice Corliss, one of the founders of Black Lives Matter. And they said, we are Marxists. So when you're supporting, I keep saying this, when you say or you use the hashtag Black Lives Matters or we support that, you are supporting Marxism.
But I don't think people know that. And I think that there are people out there that maybe think that they're out there protesting for what they originally thought Black Lives Matter was, which, hey, that's cool. But it's been like a month now. Like, let's sit down, have a conversation, and figure out how we're going to fix this. Because doing what they're doing right now, I still don't comprehend what they are expecting the outcome to be. I don't get it. And I wish someone would explain it so then we can then address it and then move on.
They don't
And
want
let's
to.
go back to the COVID crap or go back on to the toilet paper shortage that we're all pissed off about.
They
or
don't-
go back at someone cutting you off at a red light.
They don't want
Or
to
cutting you off when you're trying to talk.
yes. Or they don't want to explain it because they don't want to, they don't really, because that was down in 2015. They don't want to really reveal what is actually going on this whole thing. They don't, they don't want to tell you the truth of it's kind of like Fauci with the mask thing. They don't want to admit what it is, but in order to save face on the thing now, or to control you, now that they know that they can get the majority of the people or scare them to death into wearing masks and doing all this and being afraid to do anything, well, now they're going to up the ante. Well, what we said 2 months ago, that doesn't mean anything. Forget that. That didn't happen. This is a new deal on this whole thing. So that's what's going on, or I believe what's going on in this whole thing of that. And that's why you're running this massive redirection on all this stuff and all this, like you said, insane policies going on of that. You keep switching your mic off.
Because I take a drink of water and I turn off. I don't want anyone to hear me swallowing like you. Anyways.
So, but no, it's crazy. That's why I say we're going with this insane stuff that's going on all across the world.
Like I said, I really wish that someone would come forward and say how you can feel like your life matters. I mean, to me, for somebody to say that, that's pretty heavy. And then to feel that way, that's really sad. So I end up, like, as my own person, would like to know how would we correct that? How would we make it better?
Well, to get
running a protest and breaking things isn't going to make me respect anybody.
No
matter what you are. I mean, I don't
no, you just got to tell you know what? The old saying, the truth will set you free. And you just tell the truth on this stuff and, hope in the end that this rules out, that you actually see what is going on. It's not a bunch of conspiracy theories, tinfoil hats, or anything else that's going on. This is what they are trying to do. They're seeing how far they can control or push.
But out of that, though, is really people feeling that hurt, though. And that's where it's sad. Like, I think that there are genuine people in that crowd that feel like their life doesn't matter. And to me, that's messed up. Like, but how do you go and correct that? I mean, you can't go and fix that.
They don't want to correct that because that will blow their paradigm right out of the water. Once you are treated, like I said, what opportunity in the United States of America does somebody not have? I mean, this is even as as sideways as sometimes we present it. This is still.
Hi guys, 30 seconds.
Sean.
This is the best opportunity.
Let Sean say hi. Hi, Sean.
Hi Stephanie. Glad you got your doggy.
Oh, thanks. Me too.
This is the best opportunity you have to be what you want to be. You have the greatest opportunity still in the United States of America to want to destroy that, not only for yourselves but everybody else.
Yeah.
It's
Here
the
we go,
ultimate
guys.
act of
Go
selfishness.
to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today. IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every 5:30, Monday through Friday, on the Mighty Bet 1490 KMET, broadcasting all across the Inland Empire on a magnificent Manic Monday. Oh, I got you tuned up on that.
And also, don't forget to go and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that way you get all the cool, fun little sneak peeks before we come on the air.
Yes, you got to watch
They're really a lot of fun.
You got to watch the 2 or 3 minutes we do, because YouTube's the first one we kick off at 5 o'clock for those of you that do that. YouTube, just type in IE Newswire YouTube. You'll find it on there. You'll see our bright and shiny smiling faces pop up on that. And watch the first. Tell us what you think about the first 2 or 3 minute segments on YouTube, because they're interesting.
They're great. And don't forget, you can download the app today for KMET on all Android and Apple devices.
We've been talking about the ultimate, the whole Black Lives Matter protest, people destroying everything on across. And I said right at the end, just before we came on, I said the ultimate act of selfishness is, okay, you're destroying the opportunity for you, but you're destroying the opportunity for everybody in the United States, all 330 million of us. You crash this economy, damage our economy, break other people's stuff that is not yours, and everything else. I want to hear the argument that is not the ultimate act of selfishness.
Amen.
On that. So we're going to run a little video. This is from 1979. Everybody says, oh, you can't be greedy. And the Black Lives Matter, we ran the clip of that, and I want to get to that where just that Patrice Collier says, we are Marxist, where she said that in 2015. So we can keep replaying that, because that was what we were going. But this is back in 1979. Phil Donahue, which married Marlo Thomas, the flying nun and all that. But he had a talk show back in the day, and he was like on the left. But it's not like the left as you see today, where they were all hollering at each other. But he had my favorite economist, Milton Friedman, on there. And they're talking about greed of that. And Phil Donahue's running like the Marxists. Like Marxists. Capitalism will destroy you if we don't get socialism, and all community pulled together. That's what Black Lives Matter stands for, and the founders founded it on. So this is Phil Donahue trying to nail Milton Friedman. It's about 2.5 minutes. So here's Milton Friedman as Phil Donahue asks him about greed.
You see around the globe the maldistribution of wealth, the desperate plight of millions of people in underdeveloped countries. When you see so few haves and so many have-nots, when you see the greed and the concentration of power within, did you ever have a moment of doubt about capitalism and whether greed's a good idea to run on?
Well, first of all, tell me, is there some society you know that doesn't run on greed? You think Russia doesn't run on greed? You think China doesn't run on greed? What is greed? Of course, none of us are greedy. It's only the other fellow who's greedy. The world runs on individuals pursuing their separate interests. The great achievements of civilization have not come from government bureaus. Einstein didn't construct his theory under order from a bureaucrat. Henry Ford didn't revolutionize the automobile industry that way. In the only cases in which the masses have escaped from the kind of grinding poverty you're talking about, the only cases in recorded history are where they have had capitalism and largely free trade. If you want to know where the masses are worst off, it's exactly in the kinds of societies that depart from that. So that the record of history is absolutely crystal clear, that there is no alternative way so far discovered of improving the lot of the ordinary people that can hold a candle to the productive activities that are unleashed by a free enterprise system.
But it seems to reward not virtue as much as ability to manipulate the system.
And what does reward virtue? You think a communist commissar rewards virtue? You think a Hitler rewards virtue? You think, excuse me, if you'll pardon me, do you think American presidents reward virtue? Do they choose their appointees on the basis of the virtue of the people appointed or on the basis of their political clout? Is it really true that political self-interest is nobler somehow than economic self-interest? You know, I think you're taking a lot of things for granted. And just tell me where in the world you find these angels who are going to organize society for us.
Well,
I don't even trust you to do that.
There you go. So let's switch that. Do you trust Black Lives Matters over your self-interest? You take that, like Milton Friedman. You want to know where I get this stuff? That's, like I told you, that's my favorite economist of all time, Milton Friedman. When I say, show me the society that, where everybody has a high quality of life that wasn't built on economic freedom and capitalism and the freedom to own property and everything else. Has not happened, ever. And it will not happen. You go back to the Marxist society, again, which Black Lives Matter, and what Phil Donahue said, the maldistribution of wealth. That is the number one tenet of Marxism. Oh, that rich man over there's got too much. He's greedy. Like Milton Friedman says, it's always the other guy that's greedy. You're not greedy? Come on. We all are. We all are too, and it's greed is good. You have to be.
But like you said, nobody ever sees it or greed,
But this, and again, I have said, and I went to school districts and said, you should have, as part of your curriculum, the 10-part, 10-hour series that Milton Friedman did, Free to Choose. You're not teaching kids this stuff. This is the kind of stuff I watched when I was a kid.
And that's your...
Of that. No, these are the lessons I learned. Let's put it that way. These are the lessons I learned, and this is what even if you didn't teach it, if you heard of some of the things I would bring up, I would bring this stuff into class. Now, you're trying to tell me that all this social this and da-da-da-da-da. Well, what? Show me how this works, because let's go back to recorded history and see how your scenario plays out versus what our founding fathers established in 1776, which we will be celebrating here in a few days, hopefully.
In your home, because you can't go anywhere.
Yes, because you can't go anywhere. Yeah, you maybe the last 4th of July was the last 4th of July we had in freedom in America, because this one doesn't seem to be like that we are going to be celebrating.
Isn't that true? How horrible is that?
Again, that's what I keep saying. Wake up! You want to be woke? Go ahead.
I'm tired. That's all I was saying.
No, you want to be woke? Woke about this. Last year, July 4th, 2019, might have been the last celebration of freedom in America as we knew it. Because we sure as hell ain't getting it here in 2020 with all this, you can't do this and you can't do that, and lying to us and all that, and telling us we're all bad for doing what is exactly made you have the quality of life you have today, and the best quality of life that's ever been in recorded history. And it didn't start then. You heard Phil Donahue saying the same crap back in 1979. They were trying to feed us that crap when we were in school. A few of us would step up and say, you know what? You're full of blank. I don't see the kids standing up and saying that in our public schools. I see them getting shouted down by their school boards, administrators, or this and that. That's what's going wrong.
Because kids aren't standing up for themselves?
Everybody isn't. Parents are not educating their kids or telling them, hey, they taught you this? No, it isn't. Or somebody. Watch Milton Friedman.
A long time ago, though.
Watch Milton Friedman. How many parents have went out there and said, okay, now study economics is how the real world works, how you are going to have a high quality of life, how you are going to be successful, how you are going to have the opportunity to be what you want to be. And there it is. That is the most succinct 2 minutes and 20 seconds that you're ever going to hear of very simply stating it.
Yeah, and you're going to go on for 20 minutes about it. I'm just kidding. No, it is. You're right. I mean, I think that nobody really has focused on economics and all that stuff. I think people were more focused on other things like electronics and stuff. I think people kind of lost their importance in all of that. But I think now people are going to start waking up and seeing where they went wrong. But I think that just comes with life. You're going to focus on one area of it, and then you're going to crumble, and then you got to rebuild that. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to be a perfect moving piece.
Well, nothing's ever going to be a perfect moving piece. But as you can see, why...
But isn't history kind of repeating itself right now with us crumbling? And
well,
then we're going to rebuild.
yeah,
and
we've
we'll
always
be better.
had that. Yeah, we've always had like the
history
200-year
always repeats
cycle.
itself.
But can you see now why the selfishness, as I explained to that, happens? Or people just think, well, I can go in and take over somebody else's property. I can just destroy that for my own, just because I want to. Or just
Absolutely. I think the world is extremely selfish right now.
And that's what I'm talking about. How many times, where have you heard this anywhere else? Bringing this stuff kind of concepts up?
Nowhere.
Because
Duh.
exactly, and that's what we should be talking about on this stuff. That's where the direction should be.
I think a lot of people are touchy about it, and it rubs people the wrong way, and then people just turn off and stop listening. Not us, but just in general.
But you got to
people don't want to ever hear they're wrong.
You got to have guts enough to go out there and stand your ground when you're right.
People need to want change. If people don't want change, they're not going to hear you.
Of that. But again, it doesn't matter. If they are wrong, you have to be strong enough to point it out. It's like
I'm a roly-poly and I'm a wimp, so that's on you.
It's kind of like the emperor has no clothes. If nobody says it, he's going to run. The fat old guy's going to keep running around naked, and you're going to have to look at that. So.
Might not be that bad. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you like looking at fat old naked men, huh?
Anyways.
On that, we're going to cover. We covered a lot. We even covered some local topics, so we haven't had them on in a long time. So it's time to update what's going on around the city of Riverside. Maybe anything else that's going on. But to do that for us, we have the guy that's got his finger on the pulse of the city of Riverside, and if there's anything going on, he'll probably uncover it on that. Jason Hunter, welcome to IE Newswire Daily with Stephanie and Roy.
Hey, I love it when you guys use my tagline as fat old naked men to introduce me when I come in.
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, okay. So now I know it was done intentionally.
Yeah.
So anyway, now I'm just joking
For
around.
an intro.
So, Roy, you may or may not have heard we have a resolution coming before the city council tomorrow, actually, where council member Placencia is going to ask for a resolution that the city council of the city of Riverside find that racism is a public health crisis within the city of Riverside.
Whoa. You didn't say what I thought you said. Repeat that, please.
I said that the city council, she's asking that the city council find that racism is a public health crisis within the city of Riverside.
Oh, get the duct tape out immediately, because I know my head is going to explode now. But
I was trying to get that.
Explain this one.
Well, I think building on the Black Lives Matter and the support of George Floyd throughout the country, I think that, obviously Councilman Placencia wants to have a discussion of racism within the city of Riverside. She's put together a resolution. And my guess is, looking at the resolution, it has a lot of very lofty goals. And it's very difficult to disagree with some of the goals, right? One of them is, let me give you an example, for work to progress as an equity and justice-oriented organization, although that's pretty subjective, with the mayor, council members, and staff leadership continuing to identify specific activities to further enhance diversity and to ensure anti-racism principles across the city of Riverside's leadership, staffing, and contracting. Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to argue against that, right? But what does it actually mean? Right. And so when I see these kind of resolutions, to some extent, I always think to myself, you're seeing, one shoe is landed, when's the other shoe coming, right?
Yes.
What is this? There's nowhere in the resolution that actually outlines, well, what exactly is the problem, and what exactly are you, what exactly are you going to do about it, and how is it going to be funded, right? It's a very amorphous resolution, and I think to myself, well, geez, I think the city probably has passed probably a dozen of these similar resolutions in the past. So what does this one actually do that would further promote, studying, racism? I don't think people are going to deny that there's racism within Riverside County and the city of Riverside. Sure there is. But what does this resolution do that the other ones didn't? And I went back and I did my research, and sure enough, you've got racism. We actually have two committees. We have a mayor's, I think, forum on multicultural diversity, and we have a human relations commission on top of that, which is appointed by the city council, with two separate committees whose job it is to sort of advance the ideas that are put forth in this resolution. I do want to say that I do want to point out one thing about the resolution that I find very interesting, and I'm sure you will and your listeners will as well, is that one of the tenets is that the city council asserts that racism is a public health crisis affecting the entire city of Riverside, and hereby commits to, one of the things it commits to is always promote and support policies that prioritize the health of all people, especially people of color, by mitigating exposure to adverse childhood experiences. And I think to myself, so we promote and support all people, but especially one group of people. I always think to myself, that reminds me of George Orwell's Animal Farm, where they said, all animals are created equal, but some of them are a little bit more equal.
Yes, it is. And we were talking earlier in the show about the whole, the Black Lives Matter, this whole thing, protesters and everything going on. Isn't it the ultimate act of social or selfishness that, okay, not only am I going to just, I'm going to go in and take your property or destroy your property just because I can. And on top of that, knock down the economic opportunity and high quality of life anybody else might have by damaging the economy and doing all this other stuff, anything else. I mean, ultimately, to me, what they are doing is the ultimate act of selfishness, and nobody's pointing this out, or any people are afraid to say it.
Well, it seems to me that the word equity is exactly what it's a code word. And within some of these resolutions and some of these documents, I see equity means, redistribute, right? That's a code word for redistribute. Take what somebody else has and give it to somebody else. And the other thing I read as I read the document, I say, boy, diversity, enforced diversity sure seems a lot like racism to me. And it reminds me once again of a very popular George Orwell novel where they say, you remember that in 1984, they say, war is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strife. Right? And I'm starting to think that, some of these words like equity and diversity have similar opposite meanings to certain people, right? But they're said because it's from a PR perspective, it's easier to sell. So, so once again, I think a lot of folks are going to be down there tomorrow to talk about this resolution. And I don't think the point is that people are are against doing things to curb any sort of racism that's actually going on. I think what a lot of folks are going to say is, why is this resolution necessary when it's redundant to so many other past resolutions and policies we have here? Are you saying that all these committees and boards that have been put in place, they're just not doing anything? They're totally ineffective? I mean, that could be a statement, right? That these human relations commissions and the mayor's multicultural, they're shams. Maybe they're shams. Maybe that's what the point of this is. But I think a lot of people would like to think that they're not shams, probably the people who were appointed to those boards and commissions. And my guess is a lot of people are going to say, once again, and this seems to be a pattern with this particular council member, why did this go directly to the council before being vetted by any committee that would have been two or three other council people or any sort of board or commission like the Human Relations Commission, the Mayor's Forum on Multicultural Forum, so that more people could have had a say in what was going to be in this resolution, if indeed this resolution was needed. Why is it not being vetted correctly? Why, once again, are these things going directly to the council, which kind of doesn't work? And there's a process Riverside. Sometimes it's formal, sometimes it's informal. Why wouldn't you want to get more ideas about this? Why wouldn't you want to include more members of the community instead of directly taking it right to the council and saying, we know everything and this is exactly what needs to be in this document and we're going to have an up and down vote on it immediately, right? So there's a process problem here, really. That's, in my opinion, that's the bigger of the issues is, once again, why are the processes not being followed? We saw this with Council Member Placencia, if you remember correctly, back in January when she tried to remove one of the planning commissioners, and we've seen it on other occasions when she she actually successfully lobbied to put the union bug on all of her city paraphernalia. So if you get a business card these days, you actually see the city's logo and a union logo on her business card, for which I'll announce now. I don't know if I've talked about this before. I lost or made a complaint for a ethics complaint about a week and a half ago against Council Member Placencia. So we'll be adjudicating that shortly.
Yeah, I mean the insanity. I thought the deal of trying to get
it seems like it's just going to make everything fire up again.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I think the city council has to make a choice here. It seems that Councilmember Placencia wants to put these fire and brimstone subjects, and I'm not averse to that. I think sometimes you need to have a good discussion. But is every week the right amount to sort of the amount of these that we're having? I don't know if you heard about a couple weeks ago. We had 3.5 hours of public comment on whether Councilman Chuck Conder was a racist because of the meme he put out on Facebook. And we had 3.5 hours of public comment. By the time we got around to actually passing our $1 billion budget, it was 10:30 at night and everyone had left. And I thought to myself, boy, I wish we would have spent 3.5 hours discussing the budget because we're broke. And maybe that takes priority right now over discussing whether one individual council member posted an offensive meme on Facebook or not. And so this will be another one of those discussions, in my opinion, because it's avoiding the process. It's skipping the process to basically, in my opinion, try to ram through a vote in someone's favor that may not be all that well thought out. And I think people will take offense to that. But yet, probably be another 3 hours of public comment on it. And my guess is at some point in time, the existing city council and mayor are going to say, why aren't you learning from the mistakes of the past? Why do you keep bringing things directly to the city council? Why aren't we using our boards and commissions and committees to vet these things? Instead, you're keeping us here till darn near 1 o'clock in the morning. I certainly would take offense to that if I was in their position.
Right.
But, I'm not. Maybe they enjoy it.
There you go. We got a couple minutes left, but you think, again, you kind of touched on, but you think they're using this as a diversionary technique or tactic to get to, just take away from the real important issues like, we're totally broke. We're running out of cash flow in Riverside along with everybody else, most of our government agencies. But if we can divert you on this and not paying attention, and then 6 months, 2 years down the road, when the blank hits the fan, they're going to say, everybody's going to say, well, how did this happen?
I think we may be beyond that point already. As far as I think folks are kind of catching on in the general public that Riverside has some pretty serious financial problems. I would wager instead that, my guess is when you pass a resolution like this, it's the first step of many steps, and that there's an agenda behind it. That's my guess. That's what my intuition tells me. But we're not being told precisely what that agenda is, and it sounds like to me this could be an overture towards eventually the defunding the police, argument that people have seen throughout the country, or defunding other aspects of public safety. I don't know. I'm speculating, but my guess is this is about switching direction of community resources and from one direction to another direction, which I don't mind having that conversation. As I said, I always tell people to fund the police. I mean, Jason Hunter's been going down to Riverside City Council for 7 years saying to fund everything. Right? We don't have any money to fund everything, to fund public works, to fund HR, to fund the finance department, to fund everything. We can't afford it, right? But the idea has been, and what I've been saying is that our personnel costs are just completely beyond the pale. We need to scale back a lot of the personnel costs, which are the majority of the general fund budget to begin with. And so I'm not out to sort of scale back enforcement of the law. That's not what I stand for. It's not what I grew up in. Those aren't my values. But I could see redirecting resources if they're being wasted, if they're inefficiently being used, or if there's fraud, or scaling back our pay scales because we can't afford them. I've always said you can't have the best government service in the world. You can't pay for it because you can't afford it. You have to pay what you can afford. And that doesn't involve running up your unfunded liabilities into the, in the case of Riverside, up over $650 million and saying, hey, surprise, you owe us $650 million and you're going to have to sell every asset you have in order to even come close to approximating being able to pay for that. That's craziness. That's not proper planning. It's not proper governance. Somehow it's been allowed to happen. Is it a distraction, what Councilmember Presencia is doing now? I don't know. Once again, I would have to speculate. My guess is probably not, because I think the cat's out of the bag that a lot of these cities and towns are insolvent, technically insolvent. If they were in the private sector, they'd probably be forced to close. But because they're in the public sector, there's always an assumption that they can tax the money or raise your utility rates or raise your fees to get the money out of the public. But at some point in time, that game ends too.
Yes, it does. And our game is ending too. We're coming out of time. It's been far too long since we have you on.
It has been.
So we're going to have you on more often because, this and other things. But as you said, I think we have to tell the truth on this stuff, and hopefully it'll win out. Thanks for being on, Jason.
Bye, Jason.
All right. Take care, guys.
You too. And another quick shout out to go out to Temecula's Mountain Mike's tomorrow for the grand opening. Mention iNewswire and you score yourself a free one-topping medium pizza.
You got it. You got to put that in the comments.
I did.
Put that. Oh, good. See, you're very efficient.
I am. I try to be.
With that, you got it. So that was a fun show. We'll be back.
That was
we'll be back tomorrow on that to do it all over again. So until then, we're gone.